Nietzsche proposed a new way to understand humanity, emphasizing the importance of personal freedom, the rejection of social norms, and the development of our own values. He firmly believed that true self-realization lies in the acceptance and celebration of our unique individuality. For Nietzsche, each human being is an artist of existence, shaping their own life as a work of art, defining their own values and their own sense of right and wrong. True freedom, according to Nietzsche, resides in overcoming our inner barriers, having the courage to challenge our own limits, and rising above our own weaknesses. While Nietzsche and existentialism may have distinct nuances in their approaches and emphases, they share a common foundation for the individual, finding one's place in the world and the ability to transcend the limits imposed by society and human condition. Nietzsche tells us, "Fear is the mother of morality." In this quote, Friedrich Nietzsche highlights a fundamental aspect of human nature, the influence of fear on our moral decisions. Nietzsche invites us to reflect on how fear, whether of social, religious punishment, or even our own remorse, exerts pressure on our ethical choices and behavior. Fear, as a driving force behind our moral actions, can be deeply rooted in our individual psyche and in societal norms. We often conform to moral rules not because we autonomously chose them, but out of fear of negative consequences that could result from their violation. This fear of facing consequences can significantly shape our moral values, influencing not only our individual actions, but also the moral standards that govern the societies in which we live. Nietzsche goes further by distinguishing two primary moral frameworks: the morality of slaves and the morality of masters. These contrasting moral conceptions reflect the values and perspectives of different types of individuals and social groups. The morality of slaves, according to Nietzsche, is often adopted by the oppressed, the weak, and those dominated by external forces such as society or religion. This morality emphasizes virtues like humility, compassion, and submission, as these qualities may be perceived as means of survival or finding comfort in situations of weakness. On the other hand, the morality of masters represents the values of the strong, the powerful, those who can dictate moral standards rather than endure them. This morality focuses on traits such as strength, assertiveness, and the ability to impose one's will, as these qualities are often associated with dominance and control. According to Nietzsche, fear significantly influences the formation and adoption of these different moralities. Individuals and societies may adopt the morality of slaves out of fear of reprisals or social rejection, while others may embrace the morality of masters out of fear of appearing weak or submissive. Friedrich Nietzsche encourages us to question our fears and deeply reflect on their legitimacy. He invites us to transcend the limits imposed by our fears, to free ourselves from the slave mentality, and to adopt a more assertive and courageous attitude characteristic of master morality. Nietzsche urges us to see fear as an opportunity for personal growth rather than an insurmountable obstacle. By challenging and consciously confronting our fears, we can transcend self-imposed limitations that keep us in a state of weakness and submission. Instead of fleeing from challenges that scare us, Nietzsche encourages us to face them boldly, to use them as catalysts to motivate us to become better, stronger, and more confident. Let's take a concrete example to illustrate this concept. Let's imagine an individual experiencing paralyzing fear of public speaking. Each time faced with the prospect of addressing an audience, they are overwhelmed by intense anxiety and an irresistible desire to avoid the situation at all costs. Speaking in public represents a source of terror and potential embarrassment for them. However, adopting Nietzsche's perspective, this person could choose to challenge their fear and see it as an opportunity for personal growth instead of succumbing to anxiety and avoiding the situation. They could decide to confront their fear, meticulously prepare, and practice public speaking. By facing their fear with courage and determination, they could not only overcome their initial apprehension, but also develop renewed self-confidence and the ability to tackle new challenges with resolution. In this Nietzschean perspective, it is crucial for the individual to engage in deep introspection to understand the genuine foundations of their fear of public speaking. Nietzsche would encourage this person to question their beliefs and perceptions, explore the deep origins of their fears, and discern whether they are based on a rational assessment of the situation or influenced by external factors such as societal expectations or personal insecurities. Through this process of introspection and personal reflection, the individual might realize that their fear actually stems from concerns about judgment, fear of making mistakes, or the sense of not meeting societal expectations. By questioning interpretations and reframing their understanding of public speaking, the individual could gradually realize that their initial fears might have been exaggerated or based on unfounded assumptions. Nietzsche would then encourage this person to confront their fear directly and courageously by embracing the initial discomfort. The individual could start with concrete actions, such as speaking in front of friends or joining a public speaking group, progressively expanding their comfort zone. According to Nietzsche, this approach would be an example of changing one's perspective on fear. Self-reflection, introspection, and active confrontation of our fears provide an opportunity to transcend self-imposed limitations and grow as an individual. As Nietzsche famously said, "What does not kill you makes you stronger." This striking aphorism encapsulates a fundamental idea of Nietzschean thought, that life's trials and difficulties do not merely weaken us, but rather strengthen, shape, and make us more resilient. For Nietzsche, the will to power represents the inner driving force animating all living beings. It is a dynamic force propelling us to seek mastery over ourselves and our environment, asserting our existence in the world. This will compel us to overcome challenges, transcend our limits, and become greater than we were before. Nietzsche viewed the will to power as a crucial factor in the evolution of culture and society, asserting that the most dynamic and creative civilizations were those where this will to power was most vibrant. Therefore, we can use the will to power to overcome our fears. Firstly, it is essential to clearly identify the fears holding us back, taking the time to reflect on them, name them, and understand them deeply. Nietzsche encourages us to confront our fears consciously and courageously without seeking to avoid or deny them. Once we have identified our fears, it is time to assert our will to power. This means recognizing and cultivating our inner strength, determination, and ability to overcome obstacles. The will to power encourages us to question the foundations of our fears. It is crucial to rationally examine our fears and determine if they are based on real facts or distorted perceptions. Nietzsche invites us to view fears as constructions of the mind that can be surpassed with a strong will and critical thinking. Finally, to overcome fears, it is essential to act boldly and determinedly. The will to power urges us to face our fears with courage, take calculated risks, and persevere despite obstacles. We conclude here, leaving you with a quote from our dear Nietzsche. Remember, fear is only an illusion. Thank you for listening. See you soon, and until then, be wise.